there's breaking news this evening. Reports that armed members of Iran's Revolutionary Guard just tried to seize a British tanker in the Persian Gulf as it crossed into the Strait of Hormuz. Initial reports say that that attempt was unsuccessful, although there is something that the Iranian president threatened. That is something, I should say, that he threatened to do just yesterday in retaliation for an Iranian tanker that was seized by the British earlier this week. Also new tonight, the regime accusing the United States of economic terrorism and calling its sanctions, quote, weapons of warfare, after President Trump today threatened more sanctions soon. The Iranian ambassador to the IAEA responding, quote, the sadistic tendency of the United States to use illegal unilateral sanctions as an instrument to coerce sovereign states and private entities should come to an end. Joining me now exclusively is Maria Fernanda Espinosa, president of the United Nations General Assembly. President Espinosa, thank you very much for being here tonight. First of all, what's your reaction to this news that it looks like, according to these reports, Iran actually did try to seize this tanker?
Well, I think that the United Nations is about peace and security, is about preventing conflict, is about dialogue, it is about diplomacy, and that these are the principles that we stand by.
So there was a statement put out by the UN Security Council on the Gulf of Oman and the Strait of Hormuz incidents, saying that the council members urge concerned parties in all countries in the region to exercise maximum restraint and take measures and actions to reduce escalation and the tension. So what would be the UN's message tonight about what appears to be happening on the part of the Iranians?
Yes, it's avoid conflict, is about dialogue, it's about conversation.
But attempting to seize a ship is not avoiding conflict.
Yes, and it is about complying with the commitments we have agreed upon.
I guess one of the frustrations that people have when they hear that is that it feels like it doesn't have any teeth, any ability to stop them. This body of nations that was, formed to try to be a collective against these sorts of things. What do you say to those critics?
I think that the key word, Martha, is collective. I think that, for example, the nuclear agreement was signed by several parties, including the permanent members, the 5 permanent members of the Security Council, the European Union, Iran, in the case of the nuclear deal, and it has to be complied by all signatories. And it is important that we comply and abide with the commitments we make.
Well, I mean, as you know, President Trump decided that he felt that it was not a pact that was achieving its goal and wanted to remove the United States from that. Here he is last year at the UN talking about Iran, and I want to get your thoughts on this as we get closer to the repeat or the next appearance of the president there in September. Watch this.
We cannot allow a regime that chants death to America and that threatens Israel with annihilation to possess the means to deliver a nuclear warhead to any city on earth.
Do you agree?
What I can say, Martha, again, I think I would invite public opinion to read the UN Charter, where the United States had a very instrumental role, including Eleanor Roosevelt, in the drafting of the UN Charter. The UN stands by preventing conflict, by promoting cooperation among member states.
So one way to prevent conflict would be to not allow Iran to chant death to America and threaten to annihilate Israel, for example.
I think it is about dialogue. It is about conversation, and that are the principles that we stand by. And we also, and I think the United Nations really promotes multilateralism. Even if it's a very difficult word to pronounce, even for me, that I'm not an English speaker, it's about cooperation, it's about solidarity among nations, and it's about preventing conflict. So our main responsibility is about preventing conflict, promoting a sustainable development.
And I think a lot of people think that could be accomplished by holding these resolutions that are put out by the UN to countries like Iran. Thank you. You have a lot on your plate, and we only got to Iran tonight, but everyone should listen to the podcast because we talked about a lot of different countries in that as well. So I really appreciate you being here tonight.
Thank you.
President
thank you, Martha.
Espinosa, thank you for coming in.